Okay, we are live on our new segment we've been doing before these playoff games. It's a lot of fun. View from the dugout. I'm Lainey Fritz, and I'm joined with former Astro Kevin Bass. So this is your first time doing one of these, right? Okay,
Yep.
first time. So we're on Facebook Live. We're on Click2 Houston, YouTube, and I'm pulling up the Facebook right now. We're going to be taking questions from you guys. So get the questions going, and we'll be asking you those questions, or we'll be answering those questions. But first, let's start off with Game 2 here. You know, the Astros did their job in Game 1. We already knew they could win on the road all season. What did you think of last night's performance?
Big win. I thought winning that first game, leading off, winning at their ballpark.
Not an easy place to
Not
win.
not an easy place. Temperatures were different. You know, you saw each pitcher. You saw a bunch of the breath from a lot of the players. It was cold, so that makes a difference. As a ball player, it makes a difference. But they really, really went out and did their job. Chris Sales wasn't the Chris Sales that we normally see. And, you know, just that whole time, they're just trying to sit there, figure each other out. Verlander got a little wild later on, gave up some runs. But, you know, as usual, these guys find ways to win. They broke things open. Big home run by the right fielder. I mean, it was Riddick's home run pretty much settled everything. Huge hit by Carlos. I mean, a big hit for him as far as his confidence, I think.
Right. And also for Gurriel, because those are two guys that have struggled a bit
the home
as
run
of
by
recently.
Gurriel
And
was,
so,
that was huge. So it was really neat to see that those guys, they played with aggression. They weren't scared. They're not intimidated by the big moment. You know, it's just like I've told people before, my hat's off to Luhnow. You know, he really put together a great nucleus of guys, and they just play together. They love each other. That's what I see as a ex-Astro.
They have more fun than any especially professional team I've ever been around. You don't see people having fun like that, and I think that's why they do so well. And they did it last night, even on the road in an intense situation. They're still having fun.
Well, I just saw that even before the ball game. You know, when they had the camera would pan in the dugout, and these guys are yucking it up, nice and relaxed, telling jokes probably. You know, cap kind of sideways. I mean, that's a relaxed feeling, and that just tells me that they're confident. They know what they're doing. You know, and it's not a big deal for them. They're going to go out and give 100%, and they're really confident in what they can do as a team.
I think a lot of that goes back to A.J. Hinch, too, for letting them just be themselves, and he gives them some of that freedom, I think, he has confidence in them, and they know that. They feel it.
I think A.J. realizes that, hey, you know, all I got to do is look at the list and just write the names.
I've got all these stars on my team.
I mean, that's basically it. I mean, he's you know, when it comes to managing, I think basically he has to deal with is the bullpen.
Right.
But, you know, writing that lineup every night, it's a no-brainer.
And speaking of the pitching, so Verlander, you mentioned he got a little wild last night, but he did his job tonight. Garrett Cole, somebody that has just been lights out this entire season. He did his job against the Indians in Game 2. What are you expecting from him tonight?
Same thing. I think Garrett's mode of the way he operates is just I'm going to attack. My best pitch is my 97, 98 mile an hour fastball. I'm going to set it up with my breaking pitch. Get that, you know, that big slinger that he throws, and just get some outs. Try to get some swing and misses, and not be any different. I think the weather's going to be a little bit calmer, a little bit more 60 degrees or so, which is very comfortable. So
it's a little cold for us Houston people.
A little cold, but it's a drier cold.
Yes.
But I'm looking for him to go deep. If you know, the luxury that this pitching staff has is their ability to go deep, and I mean. Seven innings. In my day, it was 8 and 9 innings. But now, you know, these.
And he did go 7 innings in Game 2 against the Indians. He was 7 innings, 12 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So if he can do that,
yes.
And then on the opposite side, I think if the Astros can get some early runs on Price, then what their bullpen is looking a little slim, because they used everyone last night.
He used everybody last night.
Yeah.
He used everybody, and don't know the condition of Kelly, you know, because they came out to the mound, you know, for some reason. Nothing was really shared on truly why or what was his problem. But I don't know if he's going to be available tonight, possibly. But yeah, they really they weren't scared of that bullpen last night.
Yeah.
They kind of bided their time, you know, fought off some good pitches, got some key walks. And just very patient. And like I tell a lot of people, I tell fans, they ask me, well, yeah, what do you think about the Astros? And I always tell them this one thing. The team that makes the least amount of mistakes out on that ball field, that's the team that's going to win.
And that's what we saw in the ALDS too, because the Indians had
Indians,
these critical mistakes
yeah.
that really cost it.
Exactly.
So we've got a question from Debbie Aldridge Bolton. She says Art Howe predicted us winning by 5 games last night. So do you have a prediction for tonight?
I think it's tough. With Garrett Cole out there on the mound, I'd say yeah. But to win 2 games in a row in their own ballpark, that's I'm not going to say asking for a lot, but this is the team that won 108 ball games. My prediction, I believe Astros in 6 games.
In 6, okay.
It's hard for me to believe a team can be swept. I mean, you're talking, boom, they beat them 2 there.
Right.
And then they come in and
But we did say that about, me and Larry said the same thing about the Indians.
Yeah.
And
they got hit with a buzzsaw.
They proved us wrong. Yeah, they proved us wrong. We've got no Duran or Duran, sorry for pronouncing it wrong, watching from Mexico. So hello from Mexico there. Do we have any other questions yet? Keep the questions coming, guys, and we will answer those. We mentioned Correa and Gurriel getting back in a groove, and I think that's really gonna help them, especially with Correa now being lower down, like on the 7th spot. And because Hinch mentioned that before the game, he said that's the beauty of his lineup is he never has to worry. He's got guys who can produce in every single spot.
Exactly. I was watching the game last night, and I'm saying, you know, if I'm a pitcher opposing the Astros, there's no letdown.
Right.
You know, maybe possibly relief with Maldonado, but you got to contend with Correa, then you got to contend with Reddick.
Reddick, yeah.
And so there's really no letdown in that lineup. So when you might have your energies focused possibly on Altuve and you know, possibly on Bregman, and all of a sudden you got Uriel coming up. And you got a man in scoring position. And so it's never any breaks.
Marwin. It's
Marwin Gonzalez. All these guys can hurt you.
And they've all stepped up in big moments, too. It's not just like they're all somewhat consistent. It's like they're all clutch players at this point. And that's what you can never overlook. Bregman, I mean, it's insane what he's been able to do. He has 4 homers in his last 11 postseason games, 6 career postseason homers. For such a young guy, do you ever think about just how he can handle that pressure, and are you impressed by that?
Not really. That doesn't impress me because remembering back from my experience, once you're in the league about 2 years, close to 3 years, you kind of get the gist of what they're trying to do to you as a player. And he's right on track and right on schedule. Not only that, his baseball intelligence helps him to be a cut above of the norm kid of the amount of time that he's been spending in the big leagues. And this kid, his swing is very, very simple. You know, it's from point A to point B. So he doesn't have a lot of, you know, crazy movement with his hands and this and that. So he's very direct to the baseball. The most thing that I'm impressed about with, this guy was on base, 4 times last night? Well, they're being very careful with him. They don't really want to pitch to him and give him something really good to hit.
And
well, he understands that.
And he's still
right. He understands that. He takes his time. He says, you know, I'm going to hit what I can hit. You know, if you throw me this, you know, this fish pitch outside, I'm not swinging at it.
He doesn't try to overdo it.
No. He stays within himself, which is very, very rare for a young player. So he's very mature for a 24 or 25-year-old kid. So.
Okay, we got another question here. David Rankin, how does this team compare to the camaraderie of the '86 Astros?
You know, that's a good question. Just looking from the outside, I'm not in the clubhouse per se. The camaraderie that we had at any given night, you could see 7, 8, 9, 10 of us out to dinner at one time at the same restaurant. We actually liked each other.
Outside
we joked,
of clubhouse, right?
Outside of the clubhouse. You know, we ribbed each other in the dugouts, in the locker room. We just had a lot of fun with each other. And looking at these kids, it's the same.
It's the same, yeah. I was going to say.
It's you know, it's a different brand, possibly a different way of doing it, you know. But it looks like they just have fun with each other. You know, when guys come in, you know, they're hugging each other and doing it, and they're just having fun.
Yeah.
You know, so the camaraderie, I bet, I mean, it's just, it's a 10.
And I've noticed that too, just from, you know, we go into the clubhouse every day before the games. We stand around in there for about an hour, and they're all just best of friends, they're playing video games,
Right.
hanging out, they keep it real low key. And then also I've noticed the guys who come join the team,
Yeah.
even Osuna, who joined under difficult circumstances, or any new guys that come in, they welcome them right away and they make sure, because they know that's important to their success. So they make
course.
sure the second somebody comes in, they mold them right in with the team.
Exactly.
And I think that's a big part.
I think, Lainey, I think everybody has each other's backs. And that's so
From
important.
Hinch to, from all the way up,
Yeah,
all the way
so-
down.
And,
Yeah.
and each one is supportive of the other. You know, it's like they're all like a bunch of brothers in there. And the good thing is a lot of them are so close in age that they relate and they melt. So you know, they're just
Yeah.
like this, interlocked, intertwined, because they have the same likes, the same interests, and all that other stuff. So it's easier. Our group, thinking back in the 86 guys, we had a good crop of veteran guys that had been in the big leagues probably 10, 12, 15 years. And the young guys that, you know, been there 1, 2, 3 years. We,
Right.
so we didn't really have a,
There's kind of two good
yeah,
different groups,
it was
maybe.
two different groups. But we were
Nice,
able
good
to
together.
all, like I said before, you know, any given night, you'd see 7, 8, 9, 10 of us out to dinner at one time at a restaurant, hanging out.
And you see the success playing for both sides of that and seeing it now. And then also, I think that you mentioned the older guys. I think even the guys on the team, though, who have been in the league for a while and they do have families, and they're still finding ways to,
Oh, yeah.
like you said, with the younger guys who are newer. So
Right.
that's awesome. We've got another question from Mark Frazier. Do you see Correa in for a big game? Another big game from Correa.
I would say, yeah. I think he's going to do what he's going to do. Anytime, and I'll say this, anytime you see a player letting that ball travel, meaning if he kind of fights a ball off and get a couple hits to the right side, like he hit that 3-run homer against Cleveland. Then he had that jam shot last night. And there's an old saying in baseball, it's good to get jammed. You know, everybody talks about, oh, the ball's in on my hands, and it's a couple ways to get jammed. It's the good way, and then there's the bad way. The bad way is when, you know, you get jammed and you're running down first base with the handle of your bat, and the barrel, you know, is over on the third base side. That's a bad way. The good
Yeah.
way is when you fight it off, you kind of stay inside that ball, get a little cheap hit, or you get the barrel and you hit one to the opposite field like Uriel did, and like Carlos did the other day in that game. So I see him now. He's letting the ball travel a little bit, and that's a good sign for all hitters. Meaning he's getting his timing. He's letting
getting
that ball
back in that
yeah,
groove
getting
that
back
he's
in
been looking
that
for
groove.
since he came off the DL.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think that's very important. So we're gonna wrap up here shortly because the game's gonna be starting. But let's start with, finish with our keys to this game. So if you were to say the 3 keys,
pitching.
pitching, so
Pitching and
Cole,
defense. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Garrett, getting ahead. You know, I've always, it's just baseball 101. If a pitcher can get ahead early in the count, as many hitters as he possibly can, he's going to have a good night. If he's getting his fastball over, plus his breaking ball, mixing in a change or whatever, you know, Boston's going to have their hands full. So pitching is, to me, the key, because pitching is what's going to keep you in the game. You know, up and down, you know, Price hadn't been David
Yeah.
Price of old. So I'm looking for the Stros to do a bit of damage. You know, the
Yeah.
7 runs, who knows? But I think the Astros, they do have the advantage. And but my main key is that starting pitcher, Garrett Cole.
Okay, I think my main key is going to be getting to Price early, making him have to go and bring it the bullpen, because I think the Astros
Yeah.
will win that battle.
If you get in their pin early,
Okay, we've got Israel saying Kevin Bass, one of the greatest baseball players. Had a chance to see him play for the Astros.
Hey, that's my son, isn't it? That's it. No, I'm just,
I was like, really?
no. Thanks,
And then Mark Frazier says, thank you, you're welcome. And then Bobert says, we love Boston's bullpen. Make Price throw lots of pitches to get to the bullpen. Exactly what I'm saying there. So, all right, go Stros. We're going to be checking back in probably after the 3rd inning with a little update, talk about what's going on. So if you guys want to check that out, we'll be posting that after the 3rd inning, the 6th inning, and then we'll be back on for post-game, talk about how it all went down. So we'll see you guys then.